Although they make up just over half of the population, more than 70% of women over 75 will never live to 85, according to a long-term report by the U.S. National Institute on Aging, NIA, a shocking number, because it's not terminal illness or accidents, but small daily habits that are silently shortening the lives of older women, hour by hour, day by day. And the saddest thing is, most people don't know that they are missing out on the chance to live a long, healthy life because they lack 5 simple secrets, things that can be the key to opening the door to living to 90, even 100 years old, with a clear body, a healthy heart, and bright eyes every morning when they wake up. Although the average life expectancy today has surpassed 80, most women still cannot go beyond that threshold in a healthy, complete way. The underlying cause does not lie in sudden illnesses, but in the silent wear and tear from within, due to muscle loss, prolonged nutritional imbalance, lack of appropriate exercise, and even prolonged mental loneliness that no one can recognize. Those small but repeated changes every day gradually erode health, making the body weaker without obvious signs. And then, when entering the age of 80, the body no longer has enough reserves to cope with events that are very small for younger people. People don't leave this life in a moment, they fade away, bit by bit. When we think of old age, we often imagine a clear end, a heart attack, a stroke, a terminal illness, but for many older people, especially women, life doesn't end in a single moment. Instead, it fades away day by day, in the silence of lonely meals, in mornings with nothing to look forward to, in stretches of time that stretch out endlessly without anyone calling their name. We never lose the will to live in a single day. It's a cumulative process, starting with things so small they're barely noticeable: a declined invitation to go for a walk, an unanswered phone call, an afternoon spent quietly sitting by the window, just watching time pass, and then, it becomes a habit, a rhythm of life, a way for a person to gradually withdraw from this world, even if they are still breathing, still existing. I remember Mrs. Alice, a woman who was once full of life. For many years, she was a devoted teacher, a caring mother, a loving wife. But when her husband died and her children were scattered, the large house suddenly became too empty. At first, she still tried to maintain her old habits, tending the flower garden, reading, cooking, but gradually, she stopped going out, stopped talking to the neighbors. The calls became less and less frequent, until one day, she said to me in a sad voice, "No one needs me anymore." Many people don't realize that loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a real health risk. A 75-year study from Harvard University concluded that people who maintain good social relationships live longer, healthier lives, and are less likely to get sick than those who are lonely. Meanwhile, a study from Brigham Young University found that social isolation can increase the risk of early death by up to 29%, the same as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. When an older person no longer has meaningful connections, their body begins to react, their immune system weakens, their blood pressure rises, and their risk of heart disease and Alzheimer's increases dramatically. It's not age, but loneliness that causes many people to age faster, become frail earlier, and eventually pass away quietly. But it's not just loneliness that wears people down. What's even more dangerous is when they no longer see a reason to get up in the morning. I once asked Jean, a woman who used to be passionate about painting and charity work, what she did every day. She smiled and said, "I guess nothing more than waiting for time to pass." That's not just a passing remark, it's the reality of millions of people around the world. A study published in JAMA Psychiatry found that people with a clear purpose in life had a 43% lower risk of death than those without. What's more, according to a study from Harvard Medical School, having a purpose in life, even if it's as simple as tending a garden or writing a few lines in a diary every day, can extend your life by 7 years. That said, a reason to keep going, no matter how small, can be the difference between a life that fades and one that continues to blossom. But perhaps the saddest thing is not loneliness or loss of purpose, but when the elderly themselves believe that they cannot be different, they accept the stereotypes that old age means being weak, confused, sick, sitting still and waiting. It is this belief that kills them before their bodies actually weaken. I once heard my Aunt Ellen, my father's sister, whisper to herself, "From now on, it's just living day by day, my child," a silent but powerful belief that old age is just months of waiting, and it is this thought that causes many people to give up taking care of themselves. They eat irregularly, refuse to get health checkups, stop exercising, they stop caring about themselves, because they believe that it is no longer important. In medicine, this is called the negative self-suggestion effect. When the brain believes something, the body will adjust to react in accordance with that belief. Those who believe they are weak will eventually become weak. Those who believe they are useless will gradually lose their motivation to live. And those who believe they are meaningless will eventually quietly disappear. Death doesn't always come from a sudden illness, an accident, or old age. It comes when a person no longer sees a reason to live. It comes when they feel forgotten. But that's not an inevitable outcome. Science has proven that we can control much of our aging process. People who maintain regular exercise habits can reduce their risk of cardiovascular disease by up to 35%. People who maintain healthy social relationships can live an additional 5 to 10 years. And people who find meaning in each day, whether it's caring for a cat, reading a book, or writing a letter, can live significantly longer and happier than those who give up. Age is just a number, but how we live determines how long and how fulfilling that journey will be. And if you're reading this, I want to remind you of one thing: you still matter, you still look good, and no matter what age you are, you still deserve to have a meaningful, fulfilling, and vibrant life. Have you ever wondered why some elderly people are still full of life, clear-headed, and love life as if youth had never left them? Is it luck, or do they hold some secret? Actually, longevity is not just a matter of fate, it is a journey that everyone can draw for themselves, by loving themselves, taking care of their health properly, and maintaining good habits every day. I believe that, no matter how old we get, if we know how to nourish our bodies and souls, life will always be full of meaning and joy. Today, let's explore with me the secrets to help you not only live long but also live healthy, live happily, and live every moment to the fullest. No one can hold back time, but we can decide how we move through each year. Old age should not be a matter of living in moderation, but a new chapter in life, deeper, freer, and more fulfilling. When you look at women who have crossed the milestone of 90, even 100 years old and are still sharp and happy, you realize that they are not only lucky to have a healthy body, but also know how to nurture themselves in a way that many others have unintentionally forgotten. Science has proven that the human brain can continue to grow throughout life if stimulated properly. The brain is not a machine that gradually falls apart over the years, but is like a garden. The more it is cared for, the more it blooms. People who maintain the habit of learning and absorbing new things have a significantly lower risk of Alzheimer's. It can be an interesting book, a new language, or even just trying simple intellectual games. Margaret, who started learning piano at the age of 84, once said that every time she put her hands on the keys, she felt like she was 20 again. That feeling is not just a sweet illusion, but actually the way the brain rejuvenates, maintains flexibility and sharpness. But mental health is only one part of it, and the body needs to be treated as a valued companion. After decades of chasing strict beauty standards or meaningless diets, long-lived women realize that the important thing is not to torture the body, but to listen to and respect their bodies. They choose foods that nourish from the inside, vegetables rich in antioxidants, fatty fish that are good for the heart, nuts and berries that help prevent aging. On the contrary, processed foods, refined sugar, and excess fat are silent thieves of longevity, gradually weakening the body without us realizing it. But meals are not only about nutrition, but also about joy. It has been found that those who maintain a habit of eating with family and friends will have a significantly lower rate of depression, and their digestive system will also function better. A meal is not only to nourish the body, but also to nourish the soul. However, no matter how strong the body is, if the mind has locked itself into old patterns, the body will find it difficult to escape aging. People often say, old age means being weak, confused, and suffering from pain. But that is just a belief that has been imposed for too long. Women who truly live long are those who dare to redefine their old age. They do not let a number determine what they can do in life. They still wear what they love, are still willing to love again, still dare to travel to new lands, can still open a cooking class or start a project they never thought of. A study from Yale University confirmed that people with a positive view of old age live an average of 5 years longer than those who are always afraid of it. If there is a secret to longevity, it is daring to rewrite your own role. However, to maintain that freedom, the body needs to be maintained every day. Not everyone can run a marathon at 70, but anyone can find 20 to 30 minutes to walk, garden, or do some light yoga. Exercise not only strengthens bones and keeps your heart healthy, but it's also a natural antidepressant. When we move, our bodies release endorphins, the happy hormones, that lift our spirits, reduce stress, and keep our memories sharp. A study from Harvard University found that just 30 minutes of brisk walking a day can reduce the risk of heart disease by up to 35%. That's why people who maintain a moderate amount of exercise every day not only live longer, but also live healthier, more energetic lives. However, there is something more important than physical or mental health, which is a reason to continue waking up every morning. Women who live long lives do not live because they have to live, but because they have something to look forward to. It could be a small garden in the backyard, the pages of a memoir they want to complete, the dishes they want to cook for their children and grandchildren, or simply a small cat that needs to be taken care of every day. A 10-year study by Harvard Medical School confirmed that people with a clear life goal have a 27% lower risk of heart disease and an average life expectancy of 7 years longer. It doesn't matter how big or small the goal is, as long as it is meaningful to that person, because when people know they are still useful, they will continue to live with an open heart. Women who live long lives do not do so because they have found a miracle cure against time. They live long because they choose to live. They don't fight aging, but embrace it, and enjoy each day with a proactive mindset. Longevity is not just about adding years, but about adding meaningful years, and anyone can do it, just starting today, with a better meal, a new habit, a little joy, and a belief that life still has a lot to offer ahead. Life is not measured by the number of years we live, but by the moments we truly live. Women don't stop at 80 because they are old, but because they have unconsciously let life pass them by without holding on. But that is not inevitable. You can choose a different path, a life that is still vibrant, still meaningful, at 90, 95, 100, where you can still walk with your grandchildren into the sunset, still feel joy in the little things, still feel your heart flutter with something to look forward to. And it all starts today, when you are conscious enough to decide how you want to live, a different choice, a new habit, a more positive mindset. All of these can change your future. Share your thoughts on this topic, tell your own story, or tell us what you're doing to take care of yourself and prepare for a healthier old age. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more valuable content on health, longevity, and living fully. And if this video resonates with you, leave a comment. Who knows, your story might inspire someone in need.